functions are simplified syntax for the anonymous function. So arrow functions is being introduced in the ES6 version, the next generation JavaScript, to simplify the anonymous function in a more better way. On top of the traditional function or maybe the anonymous function, there are few advantages are there in arrow functions with respect to the this keyword and internal working that we will see in the upcoming next lectures after this. But for now, we'll focus more on how to write the arrow functions on a basic level and how it works. So very first thing, let me just create a basic arrow function here. Let's say add function. So I'm taking a variable here because it's an arrow function. So we don't have any name like an anonymous function. So we need a variable for that. And these two will be my inputs of the arrow function. Then the arrow you can find here with a greater than symbol and the equal to operator here. And now we are mentioning the body of our arrow function. And here I can return the addition. Return number 1 plus number 2. So if you observe this very clearly and compare with a traditional add function, let me just write this is a function, then we should have the two numbers as a parameter, and here we should return number 1 plus number 2. Now you can observe here, these are our two parameters as it is that we are doing inside the traditional one. We are missing with the name here because of course we are working with an arrow function which don't have any name, and here is special syntax here for the arrow function to denote that from here onwards the body of our function starts. And now if you just call both of this work, it will be working exactly similar. Let me just consolidate add function and give two parameters 1 3. We should be getting 4. Let's confirm that. Yes, we are getting it. And now what we will do, we'll say add function v2. So again, we'll try to assign this variable value, which is holding a function, arrow function. We are trying to assign it to one more new variable. And now let's try to see, can we call our same arrow function by using our new variable? Yes, of course we can do that because this is just a simple variable now, which can transfer its value as a function to other variables as well. With this, we'll see also one more weird syntax that you might have seen already with many inbuilt libraries. A function, arrow function, which is calling itself without assigning it to any variable. Okay, so we are having a simple arrow function here, which is taking two numbers here and returning the addition of the two numbers. Now, we want to call this function. So if you want to call this function, we should assign it to a variable. Then we should call it by giving the starting and the opening and the closing round brackets. But if you want to call directly, we can also do that. So if I just mention here to opening and the closing rounded bracket, I can do that. Along with that, one more adjustment I need to do. I need to put all of this my function arrow function inside the rounded brackets so that it will treat it as an entity, as a single entity. And now I can define as well as call my arrow function within just one statement, I can say. And if I just see the output, I should be able to get the outcome here. Now I'm not getting any output here. Any guess why? I'll just take a pause for a second so that you can think on it. Yes, now the overall complete expression is returning the number to us, but there is nothing to store this value. So of course I can create a variable here called let and the result, which is holding the final addition of whatever the calculation we are doing. And let's try to print the results here now. We should be getting anything we are missing here. Yes. So we are missing giving two parameters. If you observe here, when we are calling the function, we need to give two parameters because our function needs that. So we are missing with those. And that's the reason when we are not giving anything, by default it is treating undefined, undefined, and the undefined plus undefined will be not a number. So it's good to have the errors because we are keep learning the new concepts. So let's give the value 1 comma 3 here again, and now we should get the 4. This time it should work for us. Yes. So this is how arrow function we have created, and we are also calling the same arrow function on the same line. But what's the problem in this approach? The problem in this approach is we can just execute this arrow function only one time because we are not assigning it to any other variable. Sounds good. Let's see one more new concept here that is called as implicit return inside the arrow function and how it works. So let me just copy the same code here so that it will be simple for the working. Okay, so we are having an addition function here, which is taking two numbers and returning something. So when you're returning something, you might be observing this in many other languages like C, C++, maybe you have learned. So inside your if statement, if there is only one line, so what you can do, you can ignore this curly brackets. So the same here, inside my arrow function, there is only one line that we are using. So we can reduce these extra curly brackets here, and we also need to remove this return statement, because when you are just writing one statement in your arrow function, so by default it is considered that is your return statement itself. So even though you are not writing it the return like this, by default the return will be considered, and with the syntax perspective also it will not allow you. So this will be a simplified way to do that. So I'm just applying the prettier so you can see everything is coming in the single line. And now you can see how simple it is to write a function which is doing the addition of two numbers. So again, it's an input, and this is the body of my function which is holding only one line. So we have removed the extra curly brackets, and also we have removed the return statement because it is holding only one statement inside the function body. So this is called as implicit return behavior inside the arrow function. Let's comment this. So let's also try to see one more scenario where you can use the arrow function and where is the name is not important. So set interval, we'll just try to print 1, 2, 3 as a counter after every second. So I'll use the set interval, which is, you can see, taking the first argument as an arrow function and the second argument is your interval. So the interval will be, for example, 1000 milliseconds to get executed after every 1 second. And this is our arrow function. Inside this arrow function, we don't want to give any inputs here. And inside the body, I'll just want to say like I. So after each and every 1 second, 1000 milliseconds, it should say hi. And this is how we are using the arrow function. Let's confirm. Yes, it is saying. Now again, we can write a counter here on just print 1, 2, 3, so that we'll get a different number on each iteration. So let me just say count here and just keep incrementing it by 1. Yes. So this is how the arrow function works.